Hey, Damico here from YourResearchDiva.com, and I wanted to talk with you today about how to get yourself started to write that book that you are just dying to write. Most people are walking around with a book in their head, and they just need some help to get those words out onto paper and get their first book written. So I'm going to give you 3 tips today to kind of help that process. And now I'm going to warn you ahead of time. It's a beautiful weekend in Southern California, and we've got some boats coming back and forth, so you're going to hear some boat noise, but I'll try to get through this and so the boats aren't too much of a distraction. The first thing you want to consider when you are ready to write your book is, why are you writing your book? And the reason this is kind of important is when you have a strong why, just like with anything in life, that why, that reason is going to keep you going when things get a little tough. You know, when you run into those writer's blocks or the words just aren't coming to mind and you're just getting frustrated because, you know, it's not flowing. The reason that you're doing it is going to keep you going. And it could be something as simple as you have had this great experience that you want to share. Or maybe you want to teach people something that they can then go and use in their life or in their business. So whatever that is, just write that down. Why are you writing your book? The second thing I want you to consider is, who is your audience? Have a kind of a general idea of who you are writing this for. It could be mothers, it could be parents, it could be single moms, working moms, women business owners, it could be entrepreneurs, it could be somebody who loves to travel or loves to cook, or it could be kids. Just, you know, whatever your audience is. But don't be surprised, because sometimes there's other audiences out there that you won't even think about, and they're going to pick up your book and love it. So just don't be surprised like that, because it does happen all the time. The third thing I want you to consider is, what would you like the reader to walk away with? When they get to that final chapter and they close that book, what do you hope that they will walk away with? It could be that you just want them to feel good. You may want to be sharing a inspirational message, or perhaps you want them to be able to take the tools and take the tips or knowledge that you have given to them within the pages of your book and be able to implement them right away. Now what this does is it kind of gives you a destination, gives you a target, and as you go through the writing process, you kind of have that end goal in mind. It's kind of like taking a great vacation. You know, you have an idea of where you want to go. You know, it could be the biggest, you know, I don't know, yarn ball in the United States, or a great kayaking trip up in the Gorge of Oregon. You know, whatever it is, you have that destination in mind. But just like a great vacation, there might be some interesting side trips that you can take along the way, and that's okay, because those side trips can sometimes bring some great surprises. And in some cases, you might end up at a completely different destination that is actually better than the initial destination that you were shooting for. So a lot of options there, but kind of have an idea of where you want to go with your book. And you know what? I'm going to throw in a 4th tip for you. And this one is actually how a lot of my clients end up getting their first book into print. If you have a blog that you've been working on, take a look at what you have. You may see that within all the posts and all the content that you've been posting on your blog, you already have a book. The content is already there. And that's, surprisingly enough, how a lot of people end up getting their first book together. They've got portions that could be anywhere from 300 to 500 words, and they say, gosh, if I combine all this together, because it's all generally in the same topic, I have a great book. So let me just tell you a little bit about what I can do to help you if you choose to, you know, get some assistance along the way, which a lot of people do. I do a lot of writing, and I do ghostwrite for other people, and there's a couple ways that their work comes to me. One of those ways is the one that I mentioned, is they have a blog and they have a series of blog posts and they just say, here's all the content, can you arrange it and put a book together? And I do that. Another way is, there might be some audios that they have, or maybe they've trained, done some seminars, and they've had those seminars recorded. That's also content that can be kind of repurposed and put into a book format. And they just need somebody to, help polish it up a little bit, and kind of arrange it. Now, the other thing is, I've had some people where they say, you know what, I do this, and these are the training tools that I have learned from. These were the mentors, and I kind of try to get into their head and see what they're thinking. They have no desire to write the book, so I just kind of try to put on their hat and find out what they know and translate it and put it into the written word. So there's a couple options there, and if that's an option that you're interested, just shoot me an email, and we can discuss your project and see how we can get it from here out onto the paper and out into the world. Because face it, if it's up here, you're the only one who's benefiting from it. So let's get your first book written. So thanks for stopping by, and I have a couple more tips that I'd like to share with you, but I don't want to overload you right now. So when you get done with here, what I would hope you would do is write your first page. That's it. Just write your first page. It's no big deal. Thanks again for stopping by. This is Damico from YourResearchDiva.com.